Yo, guys, welcome back to the Improvement Season podcast with your favorite natty bodybuilding boys, Steve and Magic Mike. Steve, obviously, lots of updates. You've had quite a busy start to the week, I think. But before we get into some of your updates, my question to you is, has the temperature today made you consider the air conditioning at all?
Yeah, man, this weather has been so nice. One of the things I noticed it doing actually was on my walks with Ada, I can be more present and just enjoy walking in it. Whereas when the weather's really crap, it makes me want to be on my phone more and just like disengage with my environment because I'm like, it's horrible. So yeah, dude, it's been nice. But in terms of the air conditioning, not yet. Uh, it's there though, waiting and ready if I need to use it. But so far, it's not been hot enough to require using it. But I have been wearing less. I had been going to bed when it's been colder, wearing basically, for me, that room can be as cold as it wants to be. I'll open the windows, be really cold, but I'll just wear more clothing and then I can be really snug like a bug in a rug type of deal, right? So recently I've just been taking off layers, so I might just have my socks on and not have my kind of the rest of my pajamas. So I end up in the middle of the night waking up pretty hot and then taking it all off. But, you know, that's how it's been. But no aircon just yet. How does your new place retain heat, get hot? What's it like?
It retains heat a lot better, I would say. It hasn't been, it hasn't been uncomfortably hot yet or anything like that. If anything, it's just been nice, and haven't had to think about switching the heating on or anything like that at all, which is great. So I'm very similar to you. I'll kind of walk around in maybe like a hoodie or something like that. But at the moment, I've been like, oh, I don't actually need it. I can just, be in a t-shirt or some shorts. It's been great.
Oh, yeah, like now, vest and shorts and walking outside in just Crocs, not even having to worry about any socks or anything like that, which is nice. What was I going to say? I remember you don't have curtains, right? So is the sun in like getting you up a bit early recently? I can't remember. I don't really know what time the sun gets up, but at least I've noticed I'm having to, like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, the sun's up. I don't actually want to get up yet. I put my eye mask on. But how's that been for you?
The sun gets up at about 6 in the UK at the moment because
Okay.
I'll normally get up about 5 and it's not light yet, but then it gets progressively lighter, and normally by about 6 it's daylight. So far it hasn't woken me up at all. And similar to yourself, if it gets to that point, I could wear an eye mask, but I shouldn't because it will force me to get curtains because I should get that.
Yeah, if you have anyone around that they might want curtains at some point. What was I going to say? But the clocks are changing very soon, right? Actually, like really soon, like in a week or something.
Yeah, that's it. Not this weekend, next weekend, the 28th.
Yeah, so because I was already thinking I need to like start trying to go to bed a bit earlier, wake up a bit earlier. I've actually been waking up before 7 the last few like days, I think because of the sun. And so I've actually just been getting up before my alarm, which it's a silent alarm on my watch and it goes off between 7 and 7:30, but I normally wake up before it. So yeah, I need to just have in the back of my head after this weekend, start transitioning a little bit earlier towards bedtimes and stuff, because it's only an hour, but if I can avoid that disruption, that'll be handy. So
Definitely.
top tip for anyone in the UK.
It's one of those things. It's kind of similar to like when you're flying across time zones. If you can do it and you can be disciplined and diligent with doing it, it does help when it comes.
Yeah, it does. And when it's small, it's okay. I know I tried to do it. Like, so I tried to do it. I remember, I think it was when I competed in Vegas and I tried to really start transitioning everything. And I don't know, part of me thinking about that just makes my skin crawl, because sometimes the stress, it's like that. Me and Eric Helms obviously doing the kind of series of episodes on 1%ers. It's like, in theory, it should help. But part of it is like, does the stress of trying to implement it make it worse? It's kind of similar to like, oh, in theory, kind of completely going off caffeine for a period of time might be a good move to resensitize kind of the pathways and maybe improve sleep. But in practice, does it just lead to like this horrible stress that just isn't worth it?
Yeah, totally. And I think I guess you've got to know yourself as an individual. Like, how much would it stress you out? Because if it wouldn't much, like, hey, why not? But if it would, then it's like, nah, it's not worth it.
for sure. Yeah, and this week you mentioning it's been busy. I was just gonna try and remind myself what's happened. So,
Because you recorded a
uh,
couple of podcasts Monday and Tuesday, didn't you?
yeah, so on Monday, last Friday, I think it was, or Thursday, Jeremy Ethia, I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, Ethia, who recently came on our podcast, and he has like, I don't know, over 3 million subscribers over on YouTube. It's a lot. Invited me to record like just interview for a video that he's going to be putting out. So that's cool. I'm so
Mm,
overthinking it though now because I know it's going out to such a large audience. So I'm like, what did I say? Maybe if someone asked me about that, I'd say it a bit differently. And even recording it, you might see it now if you watch it. Like my cheeks were just getting red because I wasn't like anxious or nervous particularly, but I just cared about what I was doing. So I just got hot
yeah.
during that time. So I had that with Jeremy, and then I had a podcast with Jacob.
Mm.
I've forgotten Jacob's last name. H.
Herman.
Herman. Yes,
Herman.
I didn't want to say it wrong, but I knew it was an H. So I had a podcast with Jacob from Australia that evening, and then on Tuesday, man, it feels like this week's taken ages, but also gone quickly. I had Kasim Hansen on the podcast. Then
Awesome.
I had actually I was due to have a consultation on Tuesday, but it got moved to Wednesday, so I ended up doing that. And now we're here Thursday. So I don't know. It felt jam packed because I also like to put more client check-ins at the start of the week. It's kind of like, I don't know, you do more of your how can I say this? Kind of you have your like the weekend is a bit of a deload, as it were, from
Mm,
work in a way because I do much less. And then it kind of I'm re-energized for the start of the week, and I feel very switched on. I want to kind of do a lot of check-ins, and also quite a lot of people like having those earlier check-ins. So I don't know, people check in early. I like doing that, and then I can do more creative work maybe towards the end of the week or what have you. So yeah, it was just a lot of like stuff that I needed to get done. So felt quite full on for a time, but was fine and manageable. I think I said to you Parkinson's law, which I love these
yeah,
like little like laws and frames of reference. It's just helpful where you'll get done what you need in the time that you're given. And yeah, it's always a good reminder of how much I can get done in that time. It's just, is it sustainable is always the question. I'm not sure if I had to do that every week, like lots of podcasting, lots of front facing talking. It might be a little bit much, but certainly this week it was completely fine. And the opportunity to go on Jeremy's like channel is big. So hopefully that helps get some more eyes on these sort of chats and the YouTube channel in general. But yeah, that's been my week.
definitely.
How's
I
yours been? Unless you have
it
anything to ask.
I was gonna ask something else actually because it was from I think it might have even been this morning or today. But our guy Ali is going to be competing soon. So how many weeks out is Ali now? Shout out to Ali.
He is definitely within 5 weeks. I don't want to say the wrong number
No,
of
it's okay.
weeks out specifically, but he's less
Close.
than 5 weeks out from the first show. So yeah, he is getting close. And yeah, I've been working with Ali for years, and his passion for bodybuilding has just grown and grown and grown to the point where I don't know what was the deciding factor to like wanting to compete, but it's just like I think he was looking at life. And like I think it
Mm,
makes sense. We're like, if you are to compete, when does it make sense in your like timeline of life? And this year just made sense for him just to be like, right at the start, like earlier in the year, it makes sense to kind of compete. And I just think Ali's one of those individuals that pays attention, man. He listens to podcasts, he reads like books, he keeps up to date with everything that's going on within the industry. He knows kind of what to expect in many ways, but there's one thing reading about it, it's another thing going through it. And now he's
yes.
kind of put himself through the ringer, as it were, of prep. And I think there's just so many lessons. He's already like been thinking about his like, I guess, reflections on competing and some things he would do again, some things he would change. And it's just one of those things where you don't know until like hindsight's 2020. So he's just learned a lot going through the process. And we've learned a lot about him, kind of
Yeah.
how he ticks, what works well, what doesn't seem to work well for him. Something small that we did recently, I say small, it's quite significant though, was just this like removal of not kind of consuming so much fitness content. And that just
Yeah.
seemed to really just help remove a lot of friction from the process and help things move along. So yeah, I'm excited. We haven't really had an opportunity to do much mock peaking and things like this, now we're getting to 5 weeks out, or we're actually under 5 weeks out now. But now we're in this timeline. We're starting to. It seems like he's got the cognitive bandwidth to start monitoring some sodium and fluids, kind of get eyes on that. Because I was a bit cautious about giving that to a first timer who like it's full on at times, and it's not absolutely necessary to bring a great look to stage, but he was very open to it. And again, credit to Ali, he just wants to embrace the process as a whole. And then so this week we're kind of he's having his weekly refeed, and we're going to get photos that morning, the morning after, that evening, just to see kind of how his look changes, because he's definitely improved condition a lot over the past weeks, and we still have more we want to come off, but I think he's running flat as anything. So I'm quite excited to see how does he respond to this refeed, and does it touch the sides, or do we need quite a bit more? So that would be good data to get. But yeah, I have a number of guys. Ali is the first person on my roster stepping on stage. So he's the closest, but I've got a number of guys who are in like that, getting towards 10 weeks out, or within 10 weeks out now. So it's like the first shows of the season are starting to kick off, right?
Woohoo! It's exciting times. And because you just reminded me there as well of, because I think it's one of your clients, is it, I might be getting this wrong, so apologies. Is it Edo who lives in Israel?
Yeah.
So like, man, I mean, Edo, if you're listening, like my metaphorical hat is off to you, brother.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of clients in and around there that have been impacted by like everything that's been going on, which a lot of them are doing really, really well. So Anthony, Asaf, Edu, like tremendous work from them all, and they're in all slightly different situations. Like Edu is the only one who's competing real soon. The others have time. They're competing later in the year. So the unfortunate thing for Edu is as his timeline's being disrupted with shows. But he was in Romania on holiday and basically was due to be back much sooner, but flights and everything were cancelled. So he was having to like prep away from home, and he didn't have his laptop or anything. So it was like making life hard from a work perspective. So yeah, he's done really well to like, I was like, I want a physique update from you, Edu. And I wasn't expecting it to look good because like he's been through the ringer with all this disruption, but it's the best look to date. So yes, he's holding things together really, really well. So yeah, I'm excited for him. It's not his first time competing. He competed before. So that context, just getting your first kind of show, like you'll know this, Mike, the first season under your belt, like there's an exponential increase to your next season. And every season after that, you just get better at the process. But that first one, that's always the one where you learn the most.
I couldn't agree more. And because I was also going to say, you know, with regards to Ali as well, you've got to, and also to the other guys as well, you've got to give yourself grace, because, you know, when we went through my first season, you know, I was like, hey, I should absolutely nail this because, you know, I'm a coach myself, you know, we've been working together for years prior. There's no reason why I should make a mistake. But lo and behold, I did make mistakes. But like you said,
I would say I definitely own some of that.
But I think there's a saying which goes, there are some lessons that you can only learn through experience, and you know, and I think that's the case. And so there is no, and you know, I think I made a story post about this where it doesn't matter what phase it is, it will never be the best because there's always going to be something that you learn, and each successive one's going to be a bit better. And I think if you can always go in with that mindset of like, hey, I tried my best, but this is where I'm going to improve next time, and not be self-critical, I think that's kind of a healthy way to keep moving forwards.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's actually a chat I was having with another client who's competing relatively soon, is Nick, who I posted on my story recently too, who is his best shot, I think, is actually his front relax. He has just tremendous symmetry. His shoulders, his clavicle width is so broad. He has very pop-in delts, nice. His legs are probably the strongest part of his physique as a whole. Quads, thighs, very, very good. And he has a tiny waist. His long hair, you might have, like, it might come to. And he really wants to turn pro this year. He's competed before, and his goal is to turn pro. Like, he really, really wants to. And I just had that chat with him in the check-in this week where I was like, I completely understand that's what you want, but no, it's completely outside of your control. And all we can do is present the best Nick on stage, and then the rest is out of our hands. So if we don't get that card, or if we do, it shouldn't influence how proud you are of the work that you've done and everything you've committed. So yeah, don't have a wobble if you don't quite get it, because there's going to be more opportunities. And ultimately, going pro, it sounds really appealing, I think, particularly when you haven't got it. But once you
Yeah.
get it, like, I don't think really anyone looks at me any differently, or
No.
anything really, nothing changed in my life. Like, I'm not suddenly think I don't think of myself of anything more. It's just now I've got that tag, whatever it is, I can put it in my
Yeah.
Instagram bio.
Is someone at the door?
Oh, you can hear it. Yes,
Yeah.
you can continue for a little bit. I can hear you
Okay.
still. I'm going to go get it if that's okay. I'll be
Okay.
very quick.
And I think that's so important, guys. Like when, we kind of chase an outcome where it's that, again, we've got to put our focus on the process and how we conduct ourselves as individuals. I think that, at the end of the day, if we hold, like Steve said, we can't control the outcome. But hey, if we did our absolute best and the quality with which we bring ourselves is the best, then we can be proud of that. And I think similarly, you've spoken about this quite a lot, Steve, where you'd potentially give up your pro card. Like if you weren't competitive, you'd give it up and turn amateur again. And, just to kind of have that competitiveness. So yeah, again, we've just got to keep coming back to enjoying the game, love playing more than we love winning, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess officially I'm not a pro because you're meant to pay like a yearly fee, right? To kind of keep
Mm,
the pro card or whatever. And it's not like the WMBF probably should have it on like a, I don't know, Stripe kind of recurring thing, because then I
mm,
think they'd have people doing that. But they don't, there's no like email notifications or anything. Like you basically, if I don't pay it, it just doesn't, it's not going to get paid. So I don't know, I didn't pay for the next year or whatever. So I guess officially I'm not like pro, but you
well,
back pay it. Basically you back pay it. No, you are. I just
uh,
find it's an interesting part of that kind of, yeah, like I said, again, being pro just cost me cost me money in a sense. I think
yeah,
there's obviously like to say that there's no what's the word, like notoriety, and like I absolutely respect WMBF pros and natural bodybuilding pros in general. I just think people can get too tied to like, oh, that pro card, oh,
yeah,
like, but ultimately I can think of probably 10 people who are pro worthy but just never maybe got the card
hmm
because they just didn't get on a stage where things landed how you need or want them to land. So, yeah, anyway, that's
mm.
a discussion for another day. How's your week been?
It's been good. Again, like just in in a sweet spot at the moment in terms of training is just continuing to just take small steps forwards in a positive sense. It sounds really strange, but the quality of the movement on my with my left shoulder feels a lot better. So it feels like I can just stabilize it more without having to consciously think it. Like so much cognitive bandwidth was on, right, I need to get it in the right position so that I can then do the movement. Whereas now I don't need to do that. It feels so much more comfortable. And previously I mentioned that maybe after or during a session, there wasn't pain, but there was just sensations like just, I wouldn't even describe them as niggles. It's like, oh, I can feel something around here. But now I'm not even really getting that at all. So, and also this past week, there's been quite some, notable increases in some of my performance. So again, there's some neurological and maybe some other adaptations going on. So, which is exciting, but it was again really good with our check-in because you were like just grounding me still, which I really need because I definitely, my personality is positive, but I'm like Ada essentially. If you if I see something and I'm gone. So
I
you
keep
gotta
you on a
you gotta
lead.
you gotta keep me on a
Yeah.
lead. You gotta be like, remember, Mike, remember, and I'm like, yep, got it. So that's been really helpful for sure.
Yeah, and I just think having some patience in these sort of turbulent moments is so helpful. It makes me think of actually my training today with my knees, which have been upset, and I won't belabor it, but I moved away from the hack squat, went to the belt squat, barely any discomfort on that. following days, no discomfort. And then I went into my pendulum squats today, and what I thought would happen was that they'd feel so much better. And they did, but I didn't go right back to my previous heavy loading on them. But I did increase. I was at 40 kilos last week. I went to 50. I'd previously been doing 75. I was like, let's not jump to like a load, but I think I can take a 10 kilo increase. I kind of warmed up with it, felt fine. And yeah, it's kind of like not biting off too much that you can chew, because you can always progress over the next weeks. And then once you're very confident, where you're experiencing, like, you don't even have to think about your shoulder anymore. It's like, well, now you know you're resilient. Now you know you can take those opportunities because the body's in this adapted state. And so glad that you're just patient. I think it's the same to like changing phases and stuff. Like sometimes that like just want for results now, like on paper, can lead you to making decisions that are a bit rash in the short term. Whereas if you're just a bit patient, then like you'll get so much more from it.
I think that's one thing this injury has really taught me, is just being patient, I think, and not I think of it as not forcing things, because you're like, oh, I'm feeling okay, so I'm just going to add 10 kilos here. And so, and then like in hindsight, you think, why are you doing that? And something that has also really helped me, which I think you mentioned in your vlog that's recently come out, is how we often mistake, we think progression leads to adaptation, where actually the body adapts and that results in the progress.
Yep.
So I often tell myself that, hey, if I did 10 reps last week and I got a stimulus, if I get 10 reps this week, that stimulus hasn't gone away. If I don't get 11, it's not nothing kind of thing. So I think just kind of reminding myself of that, and just again, just being patient with things. That's something that's really, I think, improved over the last, since having this injury, I would say.
Yeah, it's funny. The term progressive overload, I think, has just got abused, hasn't it? Where it's like, well, actually, you don't really need progressive. You just need overload, because if something is overloading, like by default, it's leading to adaptations. And to continue to be overloading, you have to have progressed it. So the word overload is enough. You actually don't need progressive. And I think that's where people get a little bit misconstrued. But yeah, it is a tricky one. As I kind of said before, sometimes I find myself chasing that logbook a little bit.
Yeah.
But knowing then my technique maybe degrades a little bit over time, and then I just do a reset, but I'm at a higher point than I was previously. And I do think there's just something to that, having that little bit of chase in you, where if you just let it come to you, I think sometimes it just doesn't come, and you have to go for it. Kind of, it's making me of an analogy thinking of dating, Mike, where if you just set your life up where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a good person, I'm a good man, whatever, like I wear good clothes, I take care of myself, whatever, like the woman's just going to fall in my lap, surely. It's like, and you probably have to put yourself out there a little bit more than that, or most people do. I certainly did have to. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way.
I can definitely relate to that quite strongly, for sure. And I think also my head goes to, we sometimes underestimate what the body's capable of, and we think like, oh, I might not be able to get another rep. And actually, if you do, we often surprise ourselves. So, but it's such it's knowing when to pick your battles. It's knowing, like, for example, if you're doing like a stiff-legged deadlift or a deadlift, and that last rep is really grindy, it's like, actually, that's somewhere where to be more conservative. But if it's like a machine isolation-based movement, it's like, fuck it, there's not really anything to get, to lose as such from this. You might as well go for it and see what happens.
Actually, this relates really nicely to the mindset I think the best competitors have when they compete, is that you go with a winning mentality. You go with the goal of winning and being a pro and getting that. You don't go in and just say like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. You don't just go in like that, because that can lead to you not showing up your best. But if you go in with that winning mentality and you don't win, you're like, yeah, that can happen. It's the same with like going into your sets. Like you go in with, I'm going to try and beat performance. But if you don't cry about it. You're just like, wasn't this week, wasn't there for me. But if you go in being like, oh, just whatever happens, like you just don't have that dog kind of in you, for lack of a better word
Mm,
or kind of term.
totally. It's such a tightrope to walk, like
Mm,
being open to what's possible, but at the same time, chasing it kind of thing in a sense, but not in a forcing kind of way.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's the art. It's the art of training.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, and you learn it over time more and more as time goes on. So,
Mm.
any other updates on your end? Anything interesting?
Well, I was going to say that I feel like that was I can't describe the look that you had there. But I was actually going to say something different. So I was going to mention it was Mother's Day this past weekend.
Sure.
I spent time with my mum, which was really nice. In the UK, that I realized that a couple of years ago that Mother's Day isn't the same day like internationally. So
Oh,
like
yeah. Well,
it,
you're not on social media much, so you don't see it, right? Well, I see
no.
it. I'm like, it's not Mother's Day, is it?
Yeah. So that was good. Dating's kind of slow-ish, I would say. Having some conversations. I haven't had like kind of a date yet, but could be in the works. So yeah, it's kind of dripping, like kind of going along in the background. And I would say something that I'm kind of learning is that dating apps, from what I'm understanding, it's just like you've really just not got to uh, l- look too much into things, because sometimes I find that you read too much into a profile. You think like, oh, is this person kind of like compatible or good for me or whatever? But actually, it's like you've kind of just got to message and then just see them quite quickly and then see what happens. It's like a place where you can meet people and then go from there. Whereas I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I kind of read a bit too much into it, which is a game like maybe like I've overthought it basically.
I definitely agree. I think from people I've spoken to who have used a lot of dating apps, and I think you actually had it where this person was just like, I don't want to message. I just want to meet you, because that messaging back and forth and stuff, it's just, you just don't get the person, whereas you actually
Mm.
get them when you go and see them. So yeah, I'm glad that you're putting yourself out there and you're making sure something happens. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, you get out on some fun dates. We've got the outfit for you now, so
We have.
you're good on that front.
I'm gonna start to need to. I'm gonna need to start building it out a little bit, because unless I see different people, I'm gonna have like. Well, to be fair, I can
If
rotate a
you
few
rotate.
things. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rotate a few things. I'll be all right for a little while, but then I'll have to expand it.
Yeah, build out the wardrobe. That hopefully can be fun.
Oh,
Anything else that
definitely.
comes to mind this week? The only thing I can think of bodybuilding wise is our man Wesley won the Detroit show, and he won Classic. I think
Wow.
again, very clear winner. He won the overall as well. From what I understand, that was judged though by the audience. So like he was the
Mhm.
king of Detroit. But like I think he probably would have bagged that anyway, in terms of when a lot of the time, like you have overalls, like at the WNBF, we have an overall. It's like who fits the category the best if you have multiple people like that you're comparing against. So I think he probably did fit that the best. So that's exciting. And then the Arnold UK, I don't know when that is. It must be really soon. But
It's next weekend, I think.
oh, okay, cool. So yeah, Wesley is competing there, and Mike
Oh wow,
Summerfield.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, Mike Summerfield is going to be there, and I think Wesley, as good as he is, he hasn't come against like Olympia level
Mm,
competition, or I think some of the people probably could get to the Olympia, but not like top five. Whereas
yeah.
Mike is obviously very, very good. So that'll be really interesting.
Mm.
Because yeah, did you see Mike didn't make weight for the Arnold in the
I
US?
I saw he didn't compete, but I didn't know that it was because he didn't make weight.
Yeah, he didn't make weight. So interesting, actually. I'd be interested in your opinion on this, Mike. It seems to be that a lot of people think that Mike looks open, like an open bodybuilder. They don't think he's very classic. What do
Mm.
you think to that?
I No, I would say that he's classic, because just I think he's got. Well, firstly, I think how he poses, I think, is incredibly classic with his transitions and the flow. Um, I think the way that he again like hits a vacuum, and particularly his upper body. Um, yeah, I think kind of look remembering kind of his physique. I think I could see how he could go into open bodybuilding if he put on more mass, but I do think he fits classic as he is right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think he looks really nice in classic. It's interesting because the way I think about it is like a good classic bodybuilder could go into open and be very competitive, but like not every good open bodybuilder could come down into classic and be
Yeah.
competitive because
Hmm.
classic is all about symmetry, shape, lines, which is going to help you in open. But you could just be a mass monster with tons of condition, aka Nick Walker, and do
Hmm.
really, really well, right? But Nick Walker ain't going into classic, even if he
No
lost
way.
and got into the weight and height cap, whatever. Yeah, he's not doing well over in classic. So yeah, I find that funny that people even think that Mike doesn't suit classic. I'm like, he's pretty quintessential classic to me for
Yeah.
some like.
I would definitely say so. And I was also thinking of someone like Hardy as well. Like I couldn't see Hardy ever coming down into a classic because I just think even though he's shredded and he's got, thick abs, he just doesn't have that classic style. He doesn't have that classic frame, I don't feel, at
Hmm,
least.
interesting. I think Hardy's has quite a good frame, like nice small waist, like broad shoulders. But yeah, I don't really see him as a classic, nor like Derek particularly that way either, because they're kind of framed to their height. It's a bit like stumpy to put
Yeah,
it
yeah.
in some sort of sense. Obviously, incredible bodybuilders, but the only other thing I have for you, Mike, is we haven't talked about anime for a while, and I'm going to keep this segment
No.
relatively brief. But have you been
Yeah.
watching anything? Have you still just making your way through the Brotherhood, Full
Yeah,
Metal
so
Alchemist?
still on Brotherhood. Now, interestingly, so do you remember there's a guy in my gym who gave me this Kakashi
Yes, of
model?
course.
So he kind of said to me that there's a new anime on Netflix called, and I've completely forgotten the
Oh
name,
no,
and but apparently it's supposed to be really good, based on the manga. Maybe
it's not
someone
free run, is it?
no, it's not Free
No.
Ren. It's like something Resurrection or something. I need to ah, it's got to be on here somewhere, surely. Um, uh, oops. No, I don't know. It's not Free Ren. It's not Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh, hmm. Never mind. He
But
told me it
you've
was
just been
something.
okay. Yeah, I don't. I haven't really. I have been watching Free Reign over on Netflix, which I finished the first season, which actually really grew on me.
Mm,
Really, it's quite slow and but like kind of relaxing, great to watch of an evening, and it's very like it felt very humanizing. Like it made quite a big deal out of really small things, which I quite
mm,
like. It felt kind of made me feel a bit mindful somehow. Like I just felt
mm.
quite connected. It has some cool battle scenes and like really good animation, but and the character development I think is powerful too. So
Ah,
powerful is the term I'm going to use. But yeah, the characters grow and you grow to really like Fru Ren as well. She's quite an interesting character. So they've just started season 2, so I'm like an episode into that. So that's been fun, and I then caught up on Baki. Or however you say it, but anyway, they had a new just Baki is. It's not one that I like recommend strongly at all because it's a lot of just it's just cringe a lot of the time and like funny, but it's kind of enjoyable. Like their battle scenes and fights and stuff where it's like completely ridiculous, but it's lots of blood and like gore and like it's just kind of fun and funny. So I do enjoy that. And then what was the other one? Obviously, Jujutsu Kaisen. Really enjoying that. I've been keeping up to date with that. Was there another one? Hmm. Oh no, the I forget what it's called. The non-animated version. I forget what that the name of that is when they make like an adaptation that's humans, not animated. I forget what that
mm,
the word for that is. It's not coming to me. But One Piece. I watched the
mm.
first season and the second season's come out, and I've watched some of the animated versions of One Piece, but not much. But I really like it. I see why people like One Piece. I don't know if people who have watched the animated version hate the like non-animated one. They normally don't do a very good job, but it does. I think because I haven't seen the animated version or much of it, it's not ruining like what I'm seeing here. So I'm really, yeah, I enjoy it. I think they do a good job with it. So that's been quite fun.
You've really been on the anime. Like I'm like I only watch one anime at a time. So
Yeah, like I told
yeah.
you, I go through like lots of different ones.
I'm quite bad for if I'm doing something, I kind of I can't have other things on in the background. So I'm the type of person where if I'm working on something, like silence, pretty much. I don't I don't like
That doesn't
things on in the
surprise
back.
me.
Don't like things on in the background. So yeah, I don't tend to watch. I won't have like an anime on in the background if I'm doing like programming or something.
Can you eat and watch though?
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Unless it's actually no, I do it even if it's like what's it called, subbed, not dubbed. I'll eat,
Hmm.
but I will have to pause. So it takes me like double the length of time it should to watch an episode because I'm pausing like every time I have to have a mouthful because I can't like do that. I have to think a bit more about what I'm doing. But yeah, those, and then I watched. You probably haven't seen it. Those in the UK, actually across the world, because it's Netflix, right? But Louis Theroux had his whole doc. I love Louis Theroux. If you know, like his documentaries that he does, like
I've heard of his
they're just
name. Yeah,
so out there, and he's a very good like interviewer. He really lets people just like he really, I think it's like when I do podcasts, I try and make the guest feel very like at home and comfortable just to share and not on edge. And he's really good at doing that, but with
mm,
really odd people. But he was interviewing some people within like the manosphere, basically, who are like toxic masculinity, who have all these very extreme views about women and, yeah, basically not very good people, not people you would want to hang out with or align with at all. But that was interesting. And there's been like so many comments and thoughts surrounding that. But I'm not going to dive into that. It's just an interesting documentary. If you have Netflix and you're interested, I would recommend it just because it will probably expose you to something that you've not really seen, Mike. And this will tell me everything I need to know to if you have any sense of what I'm talking about. Have you heard of Andrew Tate?
Oh, I've heard of Ant. So he was the first person that came to my mind when you
Okay,
talked about the manosphere. But when you mentioned manosphere, I was like, what's a manosphere? And then when you started talking, I was like, oh, okay. So, and I did see it on a Chris Williamson podcast. It said like the title was something manosphere. And I'm like, oh,
that's
what's
with
that?
Louis Theroux. Yeah, he
Ah,
interviewed Louis.
got
So
it.
that will give you some insights into the documentary and things. But yeah, we could probably do a whole episode talking about it. But considering you haven't even seen it and you're vaguely aware of the Manosphere and Andrew Tate and everything, but fair to say neither of us are part of that. And
No.
yeah, it's just kind of wild to me. But I see it very much like a reaction to feminism in some way. Like it's like when veganism came out for a while, then you got like the carnivores coming out the other extreme.
Mm.
It seems to be how humans work, right? One kind of big camp comes out and then there's an extreme reaction to it the other side. So anyway,
Yeah, definitely. And there's probably like another principle for that. Like,
sure.
yeah, if there's, if there's like, yeah, like you said, there's an extreme reaction, people kind of push push in the opposite direction. I always think of it like, I don't know whether this is true or not, but I felt that when I was at school, the kids who were most likely to smoke were the kids whose parents were like, "You absolutely must not smoke." Whereas I felt my parents never quite had that like approach as such, and it might have just been me, but I never felt, yeah, I was like never bothered. I never felt like a temptation to smoke because I was like, "Well, it just doesn't appeal to me." But that could just be me, and maybe not.
I did have a friend at uni who drank a ton of alcohol in Freshers Week, but there and beyond, and did some very like quite out there things in regard to like dressing up. And I think he had quite a what's the word? I can't think what it is, but basically what you said, it was a very like, hey, don't drink, don't do this, don't do that. And then he was very, I can't think what the term for it is, but his childhood was very like constrained bubble type of
Mm,
thing. So when he came to uni and he was just released, he just went wild.
yeah.
So I definitely see that. Whereas, I don't know, where some countries like they give their kids like wine when they're just like, not babies, but like really young, like in Italy or something, I can imagine. So then it's just not a thing, right?
Mm,
Uh, nutritionally, obviously, it's easy, like binge and purge. Like people get into that. Like if they restrict certain foods, then they just have to have a cheat meal, as it were.
definitely. And yeah, it's that again restraining nature, I think, if when we feel restrained, we feel we have to go against it almost. We have to do the opposite. Where again, that comes back to what we've been talking about in the past, like abstainer versus moderator. If we may have to be a bit of an abstainer to begin with, maybe for certain things, but hey, if we can practice the skill of being a bit more of a moderator, maybe that's a good thing that's a skill, a beneficial skill to be able to have.
Absolutely. Should we get to questions, Mike?
Let's get to questions. So we start off with the ones that didn't go to the time chamber.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The
Yeah, I
WhatsApp.
completely forgot those.
So
So
shall
if
I
you
ask the
do want to
first?
ask questions, sorry, I'm just going to remind people if
Oh,
they do want to ask questions, I do have linked in the description a link that should take you to the Hypertrophic Time Chamber, which is they call it a broadcast group over on Instagram. If that doesn't work for you, you can just go to my profile and below there'll be a link to the Hypertrophic Time Chamber, and that's where we ask for questions basically. So that's where most people submit them, but sometimes we get them sent to us elsewhere, and this is why we're talking now about the one on WhatsApp.
yeah. I tell you what, why don't you ask the first question? Because I could be useless for the second one.
Okay, so this is from Benita, right?
Yep.
She asked, here we go. Wait, oh, it's just you both like oats, right? But do you do savory oats? If not, try it. So have you done savory oats, Mike?
I've never done savory oats, but what's quite interesting about this is I know Andrew has done savory oats. I think he had chicken oats in barley and he said it was great. It was something like they had chicken broth and they like cooked the oats in the chicken broth and they kind of like put chicken chunks in it and stuff. And he said it was amazing. So I am tempted by it, but I'll probably not do it at home.
I was just Googling congee to make sure that I wasn't saying the wrong thing, but this is traditional Chinese porridge. It's with rice and water. Oh, okay, maybe. Apparently, I've heard that it's like congee,
Ah,
this like savory oats or, yeah, but sorry, I've never had it. But could see it working. Again, like kind of rice can be sweet or it can be savory, can't it? Like in many
yeah.
ways. So I don't see why oats couldn't be that way as well. I've certainly done some weird things in prep where I've combined certain foods where it's just like, I don't think it's that weird, but I did boiled potatoes, chicken, and then I put like peanut butter on over it. I was like, it's not that weird to like
I've
peanut
done that
butter often
before.
goes sweet and savory, right? It kind of goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Chicken,
Uh,
peanut butter and chicken is actually great, I think, at least.
it's chicken satay, right? Satay sticks or whatever it is.
There you
So
go. Exactly.
but no, I've not tried savory oats, but I would be interested to have a recipe to try and give it a shot because I quite often will do oats. Like tonight, I'll probably have oats as like my carbs I'll do like a salad with some sort of meat on top or meat. Actually, no, I'm going to do this. Oh man, I need to put this on my story or something. I bought some expensive tuna off Amazon because I was missing the one that I buy from Lidl, which is like tuna with like some extra virgin olive oil, chili, and stuff like this. But I've just not been asked to go over to Lidl and buy stuff and stock up. But so I've been wanting and craving something similar. And on Amazon, they sell this tuna that maybe it's from Spain or somewhere, but it's expensive. Like per
Mm,
tin, it's maybe double, potentially triple what like just spring water cheap one from Tesco, or whatever it is. But the ratings and reviews are like, this tastes so good. It's really nice, so on and so forth. It's tuna and just olive oil. And dude, it was so nice.
mm,
I don't know if you've ever had tuna, like a tuna salad at a restaurant and be like, why does this tuna just taste so much better than like other tuna I've had? But it's like, you just eat the tuna. Like I would never use like the cheap tuna and just like eat that out of a can, right? It would just like, I'd be like, oh,
mm.
that's, I really want to have to mix that with something. But this, you could just eat it. So anyway, that's the tuna story. I wish I could remember the name of it to show you, but where was I going with this? But so on the side, I will have oats. I'll cook myself some oats, but I normally make those sweet. So I'll just like cook the oats and maybe put in cocoa powder or something, and then have honey on top. But I could
Mm.
try and incorporate that somehow to make it savory.
Oh no, not tuna oats though.
It might be all right. I don't know, but yeah, I
Well,
don't. It doesn't sound good.
I mean, yeah, maybe kind of for a different day, or just like that you're going to experiment with it. I don't know if you're going to have really good. Well, I was going to say if you're going to have really good tuna, you want to enjoy it. But if it's really high quality tuna, actually,
It
you
might be
know,
better, right?
yeah. So it's good to have high quality ingredients.
But yeah, I don't eat the tuna that often. I'm like, because it's more of a backup protein source. I have like eggs and salmon. But anyway, I'm going on a
Yeah.
tangent.
No,
Was there anything else to that question? No, that was it.
I don't think so. Oh, by the way, because you did mention about recipes. I know Benita is a very what's the word? Passionate cook. She loves to cook.
Oh yeah,
So Benita, if you want to drop us a little recipe for savory oats in the YouTube comments, we would love that.
yeah, that would be great. Or if anyone has one, I just want to check if it's okay. I remembered the name of the brand of tuna. It's called Ortiz.
Ortiz, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Ortiz Bonito tuna fillets in olive oil.
And
Yeah,
is that
whatever it
Amazon
is.
Fresh that you get that
Yeah,
from?
it's just on Amazon Fresh, but I think they sell it all over the shop
Oh,
or
okay.
shops,
I'll,
I should say.
I'll check it out.
It's
I'll
like a
buy that.
yellow background with like a ship on it, and it's like red writing Ortiz. But yeah,
Mm,
it's really nice. I guess you
the
get
only
what you pay for, right?
indeed.
You probably same as me, Mike. Where you're just like tuna's just tuna, right? I'll just get the cheapest one.
Yeah.
No wonder it
The only
doesn't taste
thing
good.
that I try to be very aware of is how they've caught the fish, because I'm very aware of overfishing and just again fish being responsibly sourced. So I try to make sure that whatever fish I'm getting, it's responsibly sourced. And I know that there was a big documentary out a while ago about how we can't, like the MSC, which I think was like a governing body type thing. It wasn't as good as we thought it was, but
Yeah.
I think I try to make sure that I'm sort of, I don't know, a diligent consumer from that perspective.
And that's normally what happens when you buy more expensive ones as well, because these are like more sustainably like caught and that sort of thing, which is a nice, like absolutely fits with that. It's the same. I buy eggs. I try and buy generally the more expensive you go, the better they are. Obviously, eggs, even if you get free range ones, free range isn't exactly what you think it is. But anyway, we could go down a whole rabbit
Yeah.
hole of that. Should we ask the
Yeah.
next one? I'll ask the first part of this question because I know it's a two-parter from Christopher Alm. And he asked thoughts on protein quality. Oh, wait, you said you wouldn't be helpful, but I think you might be.
Okay.
Just his thoughts, right? So he says thoughts on protein quality and protein bars like barbells and its effects on results. Say you consume one each day. And then in the WhatsApp, he just said some Swedish influencers making reels about protein bars and more or less just telling people to throw them away because they are so trash. Like if you would consume them, you might as well quit bodybuilding because you won't get any results. As soon as someone says something like that, I don't value anything they have to say. They've just devalued everything. Like there's just no maybes, buts, like no precursors anyway. And he says, I feel like many other things, it's the dosing, how's the diet looking as a whole? And I get a bit annoyed, I feel you, because it feels like they're making content just because it will get a lot of clicks and eyes to sound smart. So there's some additional context. So yeah, what are your thoughts on protein bars, Mike?
Yeah, so I love protein bars, and I'm quite lucky in the sense that my digestion is very resilient. So I could probably have 4 protein bars and I'll be absolutely fine. We've tested this before. Um, but what I would say with regards to the protein quality is I do have a look at the ingredients, because sometimes you could look at some protein bars and the immediate thing would be like collagen as the first ingredient. And we know that, protein collagen is just not you know a good quality source of protein. So if that was the first ingredient, I'd be like, I'm going to try and choose a different protein bar. And I think the devil's in the dose. I think similar to, we had like a similar question about I think vegan protein and stuff like that. We had something similar, I feel, or I saw it somewhere. But if, say, you're having 1 protein bar a day and it's, say, 20 grams of protein in that protein bar, that is a minuscule amount, or in the broader context of your overall total protein content for the day. If all you ate all day was protein bars, okay, maybe that's not ideal. But if you're having 1 protein bar a day, I really don't think that would meaningfully impact someone's results, particularly if, like what we often encourage people to do, is for the majority of their diet to consist of minimally processed foods, plenty of fruit and veg, again, other protein sources as well. That is what's that's going to negate, I feel, any negative impacts of, that one protein bar, etc. So that would be kind of my thoughts regarding that. And then just with regards to these Swedish influencers, so my response, I guess my reaction, which I'm not saying is great, but I just don't follow those types of people because, people who talk in absolutes, as you rightly said, I think shouldn't be the people that we should follow. And so, and I think that the best thing that we can do sometimes is just not to follow them and to not feed them, not feed that reaction, stay in our own lane. And again, be the change, be the influence that we want to see, and just put out the types of information, role model the types of behaviors that we know work. So that would be my kind of thoughts.
Yeah, I think probably from me asking the question, I gave away a lot of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And your answer mirrors exactly mine. I can't think of anything negative a protein bar could do in the context of the diet that you mentioned. Macro driven, plenty of micronutrients from plants, fruit and veg. If you want to have a protein bar within that and that contributes to a high protein intake, no downside. Like I can't, like to have a downside, you'd have to say that protein bar has something in it that is inherently bad for you. But it's all in the dose. Like anything can be bad for you if you have enough of it, anything. So it's like in the doses you're consuming, there's absolutely no problem with having a protein bar and one a day, so long as it's goal driven within the context of like a broader overall healthy diet. It's similar, like we went out, we spoke about it like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we went out for burgers, right?
Yeah.
If that was like all we ate, that's not a good diet. But in the context of our minimally processed, wholesome, plenty of fruit and veg, like not massively oversaturated fat, not like trans fats, all of that, it's completely fine. Our body can absolutely deal with it. There's no inherent evil from those foods that's occurring in you. So yeah, the only thing I'd be looking at in the protein bar is the two things you basically mentioned. Is one, does your digestion not deal with it well? I think I maybe mentioned it somewhere at some point to you. I didn't have the greatest digestion the next day. I was like, what did I do? I had a smart protein bar from PhD. I was just like, I need to test that again because I don't know if it was exactly that, but I think there was maybe some polyols or something within the ingredients that just doesn't sit well with me. And then, like you said, the quality of the protein, collagen is just for muscle building, not something you want to have a lot of. But even if you had one serving of that in your diet in a day, I really don't think, so long as you're not having insufficient protein in the first place, it's a problem. So yeah, I think a lot of where people come from with this is for those clicks and everything like that. I also think there's a shit ton of bodybuilders or people within the fitness space who have eating disorders straight up. Like where they're just like anything like processed, anything not just clean basic foods is like inherently evil and bad for you and you should not be eating it. And yeah, I just think it's a fundamental flaw in the way of thinking, to be honest.
Totally. I think it's like, I think one of the biggest messages or things to always kind of keep at the front of your mind is, if someone speaks in absolutes, that's like a big red flag, and you're like, oh, okay. Because with all things, the answer lies somewhere in the middle and, is specific to you as an individual. So again, like I just always use myself, like I could eat 4 protein bars and I wouldn't have explosive diarrhea, but someone else could eat 1 or half and they would have major diarrhea problems. It would like be that scene out of Dumb and Dumber where Harry's on the toilet and was it Harry or was it that other guy? I can't remember no, it was not Harry, was it? It's blanked on his name. Anyway, the blonde guy. It'd be like that scene.
When did you last watch that film, Mike?
Oh, years ago, but it's ingrained in my memory. Again, it's photographic like thing. I just get scenes that come in my head randomly.
But yeah, we don't need more than, we get it from the diarrhea. But anyway, next question.
We on the hypertrophic time chamber?
Yeah, we are.
Let's go. Right. So, okay.
I think you can ask me the next question after that as well.
Oh, so this is from a new person I've never seen on the hypertrophic time chamber before. Astronomy.game. Thanks for joining us. Um, what is the minimum you recommend for dietary fat?
And the reason I said you can ask me the next one as well,
Ah,
because we have, and they might be new and they haven't been listening for a while. So now you'll
yeah.
kind of get our quick answer because we have dived into this quite a bit. But our minimum we tend to recommend not going below for extended periods of time is 40 grams. And just generally thinking of your, like within the research, they look at 20% of your total calories coming from fat seems to be the general recommendation, but there's not like any hard evidence to suggest that like you can't experiment with going lower than that. Some people, I've heard of anecdotal like anecdotes of people feeling fine. So it is something you can experiment with. But from Eric Trexler, he's done some work looking at this. Kind of 40 grams was his minimum to not go below for extended periods of time. You can obviously go below if it's like a short mini cut or something. It's not going to be the end of the world by any means. But yeah, I don't know if you have any other comments on it.
No, no. Again, we've kind of talked about this quite in depth before, so I'd love to say what episode it was, but I can't remember. So that would be
No.
testing my photographic memory.
The
But
only
yeah,
additional comment, sorry, I'd have to that is, and we probably said it before, but just to be sure of it, if you do go low on fats, just make sure you're getting your essential fatty acids in and that you're getting most of your fat. And it should always be this way from unsaturated fat sources. That's the ones you want to prioritize. But I'm just aware that when people go low in fat, they maybe that becomes more important, basically.
yeah. And I was just trying to have a quick check as to because I don't know with the article that Eric Trexler wrote about fat. I don't know if that's a free article because sometimes they make the articles
Don't know.
publicly available. So, um,
I
yeah, I
think they
would just
spoke
say
about it on a podcast episode, though, on iron culture
okay. So yeah, just try
or
and
the mass one of those.
yeah, yeah, they definitely did. So definitely do a little research, deep dive, astronomy.game. But so let's go to the next question. So eating for PBs asks cream of rice, how to make it so it's not like wallpaper paste.
I don't think I've ever made wallpaper paste, so I don't actually know what that consistency is. But from my like how I think wallpaper paste is, I think it's just a case of you can either make it thicker or thinner, and it's just adding more or less water, basically.
Yeah.
But its consistency is probably going to be quite like what it's like, unless you add stuff to it, and then that's changing it. So we do our cream of rice with, or we do our rice flour with oats, and that kind of combines the oat consistency with the rice consistency, and it's really nice. And we add protein powder, so there's things you can
Mm.
add to it. But yeah, I don't know if you've got more thoughts on that, Mike.
I think I think it might help with the method. So it might be better if they maybe try cooking it in a saucepan over a stove rather than in the microwave. I've not done it myself personally, but I can imagine you can be just a little bit more precise with, oh, I'm going to try and put a bit more water in it and you can get the consistency that you like. I think that would be better. I would never do it because I can't be bothered. I would just shove it in the microwave and put up with the paste. But hey, give it a go, I would say.
Some people also recommend like just boiling a kettle and then you can pour that over and
Mm,
like mix it in, pour it over, mix it in, whatever. But yeah, I know some people have their methods, but I'm same with you. I just bung it in the microwave type of deal. So
yeah. And obviously, if any listeners are listening to this and they know they've discovered the secret, obviously drop a comment to share the love, share the secret.
yeah. So I'll ask you the next question, Mike, from Lloyd Grossman, our pasta sauce man.
Sorry, you're gonna have
Lloyd, you
to
have
put
to
up.
let us know if it's too much. Do you think the gamification from activity trackers can harm physique? For example, step counts and pushing to do more, regarding my podcast with Adam Peeler.
So I think gamification is a great tool, but I think you want to put boundaries on it. So you want to say like, say as an example, like, oh, 50 points if you get X amount of steps. But do like, I think you also need to say like, you don't get any more points for doing more, if that makes sense. So I think probably it is about just having some boundaries. And I think if you are maybe a coach, I think m- knowing your client, I think is really important. And knowing if they are the type of person that is just going to do more and more and more, then you've got to just say like, hey, do not do more than X, or you don't get more points for doing X, just hit the number kind of thing. Because I can see how that is possible with these sorts of things.
Yeah, I'm thinking the only step gamification I'm aware of is Pokemon Go, where you like walk around and you find Pokemon like out in the real world type of thing, but it's just on your screen, which I never got into. I think, like you said, I think it's not necessarily like so much the gamification, it's just doing excessive steps. I definitely think there is a point of diminishing returns. Normally that comes in from just being like laborious, like stressful, versus actually impacting like your physique negatively. So if gamification encourages you to do more, I think more often that's probably a benefit versus a
Mm.
cost. But it's like anything, right? You will notice, like, is it a problem? You'll probably notice it becoming a problem, and then you just bring it back down. So yeah, or the other gamification. I don't know if you ever had those, like, it's like a Tamagotchi, but it was a Digimon, and you like shake it and the thing would walk. So you were meant to wear it as if it was a pedometer and walk around, but I just shake it to get the steps up. I don't know if you ever had one of those.
I remember the Digimon Tamagotchi, but I don't remember it kind of that well actually. But that does bring me back. I do remember that, like
Yeah.
in school. It was so good.
Next
Uh,
question.
right. Okay. So your client William Warner, he asks, "Thanks for listening, William. So some high fiber products market themselves as lower calories because they are only counting the net carbs, so carbs with less fiber." I'm not sure what the question was.
So I guess we can kind of just be like, what are our thoughts on it? This is labeling differences, and I can't specifically remember, but I think it's something along the lines of like the laws are a little bit fishy around these things. It's like
Mm.
EAAs don't have to declare their calories because they're, for whatever reason, the FDA determined that they don't contain them. And I think in the US, the laws maybe surrounding fiber are a bit like this, and some sugar alcohols and stuff, that whilst you don't digest them the same way you digest carbohydrates, you do lose some of the calories. They still do contain calories. Whereas I think in the UK, we take it into consideration in the calories, where it's like roughly around 2 calories per gram of fiber. So it might not look exactly like, hey, there's 20 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbs, 40 times 4 is whatever it is. And then there's 10 grams of fat times 9. And then it's just this perfect number. Sometimes there's some
Mm.
kind of calories off if it's high fiber, where it's like, hey, if there's 10 grams of fiber in that, suddenly you're subtracting like 2 times 10 for that
Mhm.
on the food. Whereas I think in the US, they just don't consider that fiber has calories. And so, yeah, suddenly if you're eating a lot of those foods, you could be getting in more calories than you think if you've made a suddenly quite big shift. So with that in mind, I think the most important thing is just being fairly consistent. And also quite often with these foods, the fiber they use is not like fake. Some people like to call it fake,
Mm.
but it might be of a type that doesn't digest particularly well. And more often I find people do get like some digestive distress from having these sort of foods. But yeah, I mean, there is less calories in higher fiber foods because of that reason, that we can't digest all the calories within them, within the fibers.
Mm. I particularly liked the answer that you said about just being consistent. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't kind of totally related to this question, but I do feel it also reinforces the fact of, again, the majority of our diet coming from minimally processed foods. Because I can imagine actually things that might be obviously will have less fiber in them might be more your higher processed foods, and that then creates maybe a bit of a sticking point. And again, just sticking to those other types of things will always kind of, yeah, be a little bit more helpful and keep things less complicated.
Funnily enough, it's often quite highly processed foods that I think William is referring to, where they add fiber to it. Like
Ah,
my
okay.
sister got me some, like, because gets me this box from Holland and Barrett, or like lots of things from Holland and Barrett for Christmas sometimes, like different protein bars and like bits and pieces that she sees that she thinks I might like. And she got me these like keto wraps, and they're like
Mm,
really low carbs, but they're like per wrap, they have like, I don't know what it is, like 15, 20 grams of fiber. And it's just
yeah.
like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to eat that because I don't know how I'm going to be able to deal with that amount of fiber. I already get a lot of fiber from my diet as a whole. So yeah, it's like the protein bar example. Sometimes these protein bars just have crazy amounts of fiber within them, and it's often a type of fiber that people don't deal with well. So
Mm.
yeah, it's
I find that about some vegan products as well. Like the fiber is high, and sometimes if I eat a lot of it, like maybe I'm making this up, but I feel like the corn mints or maybe some
corn is
some other
high.
products,
Yeah,
and it's just like, hey, if I have a lot of that, and also the protein isn't very very high, so if you have a lot, it's like, oh, I've just eaten a crap ton of fiber, and literally
crap
crap
shit.
being one as well.
Yeah. What's
Whoopsie.
another thought that comes to mind? I know we've spoken about those David protein bars that have that like
Yeah.
fake fat in them. It's like it just the body doesn't digest it, but it just like comes out. And I just don't. I don't have never eaten one. I've never had many of them, but imagine that's not great like for your digestion. But you don't get the
Mm,
calories from it, so then they don't have to. I think there's a lawsuit on them that maybe they have to change that. But anyway, theoretically, you don't actually get the calories from that part of the product, whatever that fat replacement they're using. Um, yeah,
yeah.
I'll ask you the next question from Mighty Mr. Quinn, my man Mark. Asked Paul Carter still have you blocked? Referring to me, yes. As far as I'm concerned, he still has me blocked. I haven't checked recently, but yes, he is dogmatic. But I think Mark also said, I enjoy his content. He is dogmatic, but I think you agree on 90% of the training principles. Okay, there's no question here. Also, well, apart from the blocked. Also, he's a dog lover. So, yeah, I just, yeah, he has me blocked still. Don't know. No, nothing much more to say, but
Yeah.
I can see, and I agree, a lot of people agree on like 90% of things. But yeah, Paul is, I don't like the way he moves in the fitness industry. I'll put it that way. He seems to have done some fishy stuff surrounding people I really respect, and that just gives me a bit of a hmm. And so
Yeah.
to be blocked is not no skin off my nose.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll ask you the next question, Mike.
Okie dokie.
Lifting Lewis 5 asks, oh, damn, it's to me as well. Actually, no, it's got you in there. Curious, Steve, if you're still on the creamy in the even given you said you were going off them, have you and Mike stopped them? So I am still having my nightly creamy. I don't know if you're on or off or where you are with them. When was your last one?
Oh, do you know what? I haven't had one for a long time. And it's not that I've gone off them. I'm just more into something else. Like, I would just say that I've just got into a routine of like having like, I do this mixture now of oats with fruity muesli. You know, I love my fruity muesli.
It's just always funny. I don't know why. Fruity
Fruity.
muesli. You're the only person I know eats muesli, I think.
I just love it. And yeah, so I just have this like little combo of oats and fruity muesli as my like little dessert. And I'm just really enjoying it. And sometimes I'll just put a little bit of yogurt on there. I'm kind of into my yogurts at the moment as well. And I've got Ninja Creamies in the freezer. So if I did want one, like I'll bang them out straight away. But I'm just in a bit more of a routine with something else at the moment. But I definitely will. Well, we've planned a mini cut later in the year, so no doubt the creamies will be coming out when we get into that.
What yogurts are you on? I'm interested.
So it's just a whole bunch of mixtures. So I've got mousses. I've got my protein chocolate
Oh,
mousses
yeah.
and the salted caramel mousses. There's I don't know if you've heard of a brand called Arla.
Yep.
Yeah, so
They're
I've
huge.
got like yeah, so I've got like some Arla puddings and some Arla mousses. I've got some of the Lindel's yogurts in there as well. I've got some of the Graham's as well. I've just got like all the protein yogurts basically.
So you're like I am. How am I going to say this? The way you are with anime is the way that I'm with protein yogurts because I all I have is the salted caramel mousse. If I can avoid the chocolate one, I will. And then the white chocolate Lindel protein yogurts. That's all I eat. I don't try any others because I have, and I'm like, nah. Whereas you're how I am with anime. You try all the different ones, so that's funny. But no, I still rotate my Cinnabon Ghost protein powder, Ninja Creamy, and then I do a chocolate one basically.
Mm,
So yeah, I rotate between those each evening basically.
nice. I
Then
think I've got 3 different flavors of Ninja Creamy in my freezer as well though, because I've put different protein powders in each of them.
The issue is only if you ever forget what you've put in them.
Well, I've written in my notes the ingredients
Okay,
in them
smart. Yeah, there you
so
go.
that I can always like, right, this is what it's in it, and I'll just plug it into my Fitness Pal.
On that note, has your MyFitnessPal updated?
Maybe I don't think so, not yet.
How the like, if and when it does, I hate it. I hate the update, and I think it's just because it's different. Hopefully, I'll get used to it, but it's super annoying because when you're just in your flow
Mm,
of, this is why I never went to Macro Factor, because I was just like, I don't want that cost of moving to something else, just
yeah.
the energy. But yeah, they've updated the app, so yours will probably get updated at some point, I imagine. It's functionally exactly the same. It's just some of
Hmm.
the ways you do things has changed, and
Okay.
I don't like it at the moment because I'm like, oh, I just had my way of doing things, and now this is an extra thing I have to think about. Anyway,
It's like it's not exactly the same, but sometimes my fitness pal will just log you out, and you're like,
oh,
oh,
it does it
for
all the
God's
time.
sake, why have you done that? Yeah, sometimes these little things just so frustrating.
Can I actually? No, I can't.
Okay.
Don't worry. Let's
Mm.
continue.
All right. So Daniel.Povosky asks, "Hi Steve, I'm currently in a gaining phase for the next 2 years. How can I get the most out of this phase before my next competitive season?"
Wow, that's a big, broad question, my man.
Mm.
I know. Hire us as your coaches.
Yeah.
It's the
Do that
perfect
first.
answer, Daniel. That you literally fed me that on a plate. Right, in terms of making the most out of it. So I would say, so just a few fundamentals. First of all, recognize that your off season is the time where you can enjoy life a bit more. So just don't get blanketed into ignoring that. Make sure bodybuilding complements your life overall, just because I think that is the time to invest effort and energy into other things whilst also taking care of your bodybuilding, and that can be done. So that's something I would definitely say, because it will make you a better and more sustainable bodybuilder overall and a more complete person. Then in terms of like body composition, I would try and stay in your kind of sweet spot body fat as long as you can. So hopefully you're nice and lean, and therefore you can gain a nice slow pace. Probably looking to gain, I don't know how long or you've been competing and so on and so forth, but anywhere a pound or so per month is a great place for a lot of people to be. And only push up to the point of, I mean, if you're stepping away from stage, competing, I wouldn't get much heavier than 15% above stage weight, probably. I just don't think it's probably necessary to go much higher than that, depending on a lot of things like your muscle gain potential, all of that. But if you've competed, you're probably pretty advanced as it is. And then you can intermittently use mini cuts, but use them very sparingly. In the next 2 years, you maybe only use 1 or 2 of those to kind of keep you in range. And then train your ass off, man, and take care of your sleep and variables outside of the gym so that you can really push yourself in the gym. And I think those are the big rocks off the top of my head, at least.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, get a coach.
And what was it gonna say? And so I'll try and find some different things to that. But I just want to say, Daniel, you've written to the improvement season. Why have you just written to Steve when you know this is when I'm here as well? Where's hi Mike as well?
I did put the question box up. That's the only reason I didn't even think about it. So
I'm
sometimes I
joking.
guess you could think it's just me asking for questions. But yes, you're right. Mike is a big part of the improvement season. It's 50%.
But no, just kidding, Daniel. So the other things that I would add to Steve's answer is I think when we're in an improvement season, complacency can be a big issue. So we joked about the coach, but I think having something to keep you accountable and someone to keep your standards from slipping, I think is incredibly high. Because I think even the best person, sometimes our standards with anything, it could be our training form, it could be like nutrition, it could be something else. Like we need someone in our world who knows us and that can keep us standards. So I think, and sometimes also just having mini goals along the way could be like, maybe it's not the best thing, but I can't think of anything else right now. But sometimes little things like, a photo shoot, not getting stage lean, of course, but like something like that can sometimes just keep your head in the game. And, you said 2 years, so that's not too long, which is good. But yeah, just having something that will keep your standards high and help prevent complacency, I think is important. And then the only other one which just cropped into my mind, as Steve said, is, you definitely want to train your ass off, but you want to be sensible and not cause yourself an injury. So like what we talked about at the beginning, it's having a maturity and kind of trying to strike that balance between, progressing, but not doing something maybe immature that's going to set an injury. Because again, like Steve's finding, once you piss something off, you don't want to be battling tendonitis for, 80% of your improvement season. That's going to be fucking annoying. So, train hard, but train, with a mature head on your shoulders as well.
Yeah, I think complacency is the biggest killer of improvement seasons and off seasons for bodybuilders. Absolutely. And like you said, it creeps in for the best bodybuilders out there. So having something to keep you accountable is going to help a ton. And yeah, I think just navigating stimulus and fatigue, like make sure that
Yeah.
you're not just thinking only about stimulus, but recognize when you're getting unwanted levels of fatigue kind of raising their ugly head as they unfortunately will, and just being smart, make smart decisions to navigate those would be really good. But yeah, without knowing you further than that, Daniel, it's hard to say. But also, I just recommend as a competitive bodybuilder looking at the judges' feedback, or
Yeah.
just looking at photos and feedback from yourself or a coach or what have you, and look at where you need to be better to be more complete and competitive on stage for next time, and make sure you bring those areas up.
For sure.
I will get the next question for you, Mike. Fra_Torta, would you swap an exercise out of your program if still progressing, but you have been at it for more than a year?
No, definitely not. If I was progressing and I was still enjoying it, I wouldn't swap it out. I would only swap it out if either I felt the stimulus was really dropping off and it was no longer productive stimulus for me, as and yeah. And again, like we come back to this progressing, how long has it not been progressing for? Because, hey, has that been just a couple of weeks or,
Still progressing.
yeah, no, but I was just yeah, so but if it was still progressing, I definitely wouldn't swap it out.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, like, I'm the same as you. I'm like, if it's still progressing, dude, yeah, I'd have at it. I'd keep
Yeah.
going. Like, unless you said there's some unwanted fatigue kicking in, like something else is telling you that it's not the right thing to keep doing. But if everything's giving you the green thumbs up, keep going with it. Like
Yeah.
I run exercises like probably too far into the ground, like I did with hack squats, to be honest. And then I rotate them once they're causing me an actual problem.
No, but I think that's also part of us. Like we're just so like in our routines, like we could just have something for like ongoing, continuous for a very long time until it's probably not productive. It's just
But
part
there's
of our
no
personality.
special benefit of putting in a different exercise. Like a squat pattern's a squat pattern. Yes, it trains your quads slightly differently, but fundamentally it's training the quads really, really well. So like there's no need to change it for like a special benefit of variation. So if it's still progressing and it's going well, keep going.
Yeah. All right. So, my man Aaron, shout out Aaron. Thanks for asking a question. So, do you deal with bad body image days? And if so, how do you deal with them?
So yes, absolutely. Um, they become less frequent, I think, as I've done this longer, and I think that's just a consequence of looking closer to the way I want to look. Whereas when I was more novice in this, I certainly would regularly look at myself and be like, "Oh man, you're not looking great," and whatever it is. And in terms of dealing with them, I think I've always just taken the mindset of I'm not completely happy with how I'm looking. How can I change that? Let's do the things that's going to help do that. And so it just reinforces everything I'm already doing in terms of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Nail my diet, nail my training, and move forward with it. And know that, yeah, it basically is like, I'm not happy with it. So how can I improve it? And it comes back to that. And I've just always been good at recognizing that that's the way I want to go. Because if I'm not happy with how I'm looking, then what can I do to and I'm just, if I don't do the things that I know can help improve it, then it's only going to stay this way, right? The other thing is also I try and reaffirm, like, there are days where I look bad, but that's not how I always look, and it might
Mhm.
be down to X, Y, and Z. So I know for Aaron, for example, he's in contest prep. So like looking flat, like looking skinny in clothes, that's part of the process that we know is going to happen. And it actually doesn't matter how you're really looking at those times. What matters is when you come to stage, when you've dropped fatigue, when you've filled out glycogen stores. And so if there are times of which maybe he has refeeds and he can look at his physique like with a pump in good lighting with like carbohydrates in his system, that's how he's going to look on stage, closer
Mhm.
to that at least. And so if he's happy with that look, then that's closer to where you want to be. And then if he's still not happy with that look, then it's a case of, well, is there anything you can do to your posing? Or it's a case of recognizing, hey, you're not satisfied yet, but you're going to have an off season in future and you can be more competitive. I have it even now, like sometimes I'll take a video and I'll pose and I'll look at it back and I'll be like, man, I look like shit. Like, and it's like angles or lighting or something's off. And what I do in those situations is I'm like, I need to do that somewhere else. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, here I look closer to how I think I should look. And that
Mm.
makes me feel better about things. So that's something I do like intermittently now, is just like sometimes angles and photos and lighting just can actually destroy how you look. So just trying to find other times where you look better and reinforcing like, oh, actually, no, that's not how I absolutely look. I'm sure you've got more thoughts on this, Mike.
No, I really I like that a lot. And again, like Aaron's in contest prep at the moment, so again, it's that really hard time, and Aaron's lean right now, like really lean. So again, it's that kind of that tough point, where you are dealing with these things. And what I would just add to what you said, Steve, is that I think sometimes when we are having those, bad body image days, I think it's in those moments we need to practice the skill of knowing when to zoom in and zoom out. So the bad body image days probably when our focus is a little bit more too internal, and let's shift the focus somewhere else a little bit outside of ourselves. So that could be like, hey, how am I going to be present with, my family or my partner, or maybe again, focusing maybe on my gym performance, or focusing on the process, like you said, about just nailing your diet, nailing, your sleep, your outcome, your processes, etc., and just trying to put that focus elsewhere. And the second thing I would say is you've really just not got to attach uh, your how you're looking right now to any type of value that one has as a person, because again, like I always think of it like the majority of people don't care how you look. Like in your head, you've kind of ramped up this idea of like, oh, I'm so flat, I'm so stringy. Most people don't give a fuck, you know? I always think of it like when you go to like the hairdressers and you have a haircut, you're so self-conscious about your hair, and you can obviously speak to this as well, but like people don't even notice. Like sometimes people are like, maybe a week later they go, have you done something with your hair? And you're like, I had it cut last week. And so no one actually gives a fuck. So like I think that's a really important thing to remember. And just again, like you said, come back to the processes, concentrate on being a good person, being present in the moment, and yeah, just ditto everything that you said.
Mike, how do you ever have bad body image days, and how do you personally deal with them? Because I
Mm,
know you answered this for Aaron in his shoes, but I'm interested how, if, because he asked it to us, I want to know that as well, which is a
mm,
great answer, by the way, but I want to know for you
yeah.
specifically.
I actually probably so I I struggle with it's funny because we talk about data bio and believe it. Something I really struggle with is self-belief in myself, I would say. Um and I honestly Yeah, it's honestly something that I struggle with. I can't say that I have good days and bad days because at the moment I'm deep into a recovery slash improvement season. And so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized. I feel like I can put my focus into other things such as, my coaching, my physio, just training hard in the gym. So I think it's easier for me to just shift my focus a little bit. And I think it just comes back to what I said, reminding myself that actually how I look has nothing to do with the good person that I'm trying to be. and I'm just going to try and be a good person. And finally, just, hey, I'm just always going to try and be a little bit better. And just, if I can just be a little bit better and improve in some way, hey, that's all I can be proud of at the end of the day. Yeah,
Sounds like you focus on the process heavily, which is good.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think I think that's what our both of our biggest take homes there was. I know a lot of bodybuilders, especially in the off season, they will just cover themselves up. I can specifically think of someone who I talk to regularly in my gym. I'd never see him in anything but like a hoodie and long joggers. And then I'm there in my Rascal like pump stringer thing. And I'm just like, oh, I feel kind of embarrassed for myself here right now. But it's hot and hey, I got given this and I need to show it off.
Yeah.
So I think also that's actually a point though, is like where things you're comfortable in, where things that make you feel confident as well. I think that can help. But I think your main point of like, hey, how you look is not a reflection of who you are as a person. And really, no one cares. You care much more than anyone else. But you caring is fine and you want to look good. And it's similar to like us going out and get you clothes to like present your best and look good in them. They don't represent who Mike is. You wearing like this smart outfit versus just your gym clothes out and about doesn't change who you are as a person, but you maybe feel more confident, able to represent yourself, and you feel maybe like someone else might look at you and be like, oh, this guy has his shit together a little bit more, and that helps breed like how you feel. So I think it is worth like, yeah, thinking about the two sides of that. Anyway, yeah. I don't know if you have any thoughts more on that, but we can ask the last question otherwise.
Let's ask the last question.
So we've got Barnaby B10. So you know, Steve, what was the reasoning behind your recent increase in calories? How long did you weight stay stagnant? What factors do you consider? So he answered it kind of himself because my weight was stagnant, and I tend to leave it anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the person and the situation they're in, and how. Yeah, 2 to 4 weeks, and I guess part of that is also how long have I recently made an adjustment and by how much? Like if I've recently made quite a considerable adjustment, which I would call anywhere from 100 calories plus, I'd probably leave it more like a month. If it was like 50 calories, maybe it's closer to 2 weeks. And then for someone like you and me, Mike, probably more likely to leave it a month before making a small adjustment again. Whereas for someone who has got a greater growth potential, like I posted James recently on my feed, who gained 25 pounds of muscle, which I didn't quite realize until I went through it all. I was like, wow, like he has literally exploded. Yeah, it's great. Whereas with him, I'm more like pushy to make sure that we're continuing to feed that, and that allowed us to grow more. So it's related to growth potential there too. So those are some of the things that I consider. And yeah, just my weight was just not going up. So I was just very occasionally creeping up at 50 calories here or there. And I can say now, like I'm averaging, I think 185 pounds, which is getting close to the heaviest I've averaged. Certainly for months, it's the heaviest I've averaged, which is cool. So it seems like the 3,900 is finally sticking, which is fine because my appetite is still good. Like I haven't hit that appetite ceiling at all. I still look forward to every meal, and like I'm digesting things well. So I do think it's when I get towards 190, I think that's when the appetite and everything will start not being happy. But I've still got room to push. Although look thinking about competing next year, I'm already like, man, next year's going to come in no time.
Definitely. I think particularly as we hit the latter part of the year when we've got the Natural Bodybuilding Summit and we've got a few key things that are just going to make time fly by, I think, yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, part of me was also, obviously you're doing a little bit of a cleanup before the Bali Summit. I was like, maybe I could do like a little cleanup. I think optimal bodybuilding probably wouldn't be the best move to do. But part of me is like, well, there's going to be a lot of people. There's probably going to be a lot of footage and photos. And like, if I looked a bit more shreddy, that could be good to document. But if I'm still feeling confident and happy in my skin, I don't think I'll worry about doing it. I don't really want to take away from the process.
I mean, you've got separation in your hamstrings and you can kind of see lines in your glutes still.
Yeah, faint ones from the rear even sometimes in the right lighting. It's
I know.
weird. But yeah, so I'm holding it okay. So, but it just comes back to, I just seem to look much better at like, I look back at some of my most lean state and depleted states. I'm like, man, like I've got so little muscle on this frame. Like I look at those photos, I'm like, now I feel like I look so much better, but I need the condition. It's that balancing
Mm.
act, right? Like the fullness versus flatness versus all of those dynamics. But yeah, anyway, hopefully there'll be more muscle to make it stick.
Indeed, indeed. And again, it just comes back to that the art of the sport a little bit and just the ongoing lessons, and you'll get that balance better next time, which will be
Yeah.
great. That's
Nice.
it.
Guys, thank you so much for your questions. Thank you, Mike, for your time.
Thank you.
I guess as a reminder, we're online coaches, just like Daniel, as a reminder, we're online coaches. Daniel, sign up for coaching. We'd love to help you in your off season or step on stage next time or whoever you are. We appreciate you. And something I definitely want to clarify, I actually had some back and forth with someone who was inquiring about coaching, is like our coaching is not like other coaches. A lot of coaches in this space, they will send you Loom videos or video check-ins. We do that. But you generally, as the client, will just fill out a form or fill out a spreadsheet. You do that with us. You fill out your spreadsheet, but you also record your own video so you can communicate with us clearly, ask questions. We actually build like a relationship, and we're friends with our clients. So we can really get a great understanding of them, how they tick, and we can put ourselves in their shoes. That really differentiates us from other coaches, I feel. I'm sure there are coaches that have a similar setup to us, but from the people I've spoken to, the things I see, most don't let their clients communicate as clearly as what we allow our clients to. And I really think that sets us above where we have long lasting and great results with our clients. So if you've ever felt out of touch with the coach you've had, or you have one currently and you're like, we're the guys for you. If you want that level of communication, which for me, it's the foundation to a successful coach-client relationship. You could inquire and you could either get a consult with us to have a chat, or we can leave you a video response to your application, which is completely free. The consults, there's a small fee for the consult. I think I've sold coaching heavily enough. Otherwise, definitely subscribe, like, drop us a follow, take a screenshot of this at some point and share it on your feeds and tag us
Love
both.
that.
Otherwise, we'll catch you in the next one.
Can't wait to see you next week.
Cheers, guys.